I found out that there's actually an organization called the Food Recovery Network. It's started at the University of Maryland in 2011. So they have over 100 chapters across the entire country, and our chapter here at WVU is the only one in West Virginia. So we started about a year ago, and we've been kind of doing a little bit of research and a little bit of trial and error. As I'm sure you guys know, you have to try things many times until you find a solution, or something that even works a little bit. So we started recovering food in the dining halls, which was really difficult for us because we found that particularly one of the dining halls here on campus generates so much waste that we had too much food to take to places because it will take refrigeration to be able to store these foods that you're donating. So that was and bagels, things that don't really need to be refrigerated. So that's kind of where we are at right now. We've recovered from a local farm. So I think altogether we've been able to recover 2,000 pounds of food in the past year, which is pretty good, but we always want to do better, you know? And so you mentioned the hot compost. I did research with a professor who your teacher knows, and I actually looked at the dining hall audits from 2012. So a group here on campus kind of did some research within the dining halls to see how much waste was being generated. And something that I found was really interesting was that the university had labeled a lot of food as able to be composted, but at the time wasn't composting. And from what I know right now, there isn't really a composting program that's happening. I know that the Office of Sustainability here has been really focused on doing recycling in general. I worked for them last year, so I know that single stream recycling, which is being able to put a plastic item and a paper item all in the same bin, something you guys might know about, that's been really at the forefront of the Office of Sustainability. So here at WVU, from what we know with the Food Recovery Network, hot composting isn't really happening at this university. Or at least the ones up front. Oh, so I want to make sure to keep in.
STEMtist, and I'm Joseph Yanchak.
I'm Craig Dombrowski.
Nick Diegenbach. I'm Tommy Cristiati.
And Gideon Temple.
Who we are? We are a group of 8th grade students that go to Suncrest Middle School. We are on a FLL Robotics team, and FLL is a group, or it's a team, and they compete against different teams in a competition. And there's two different main competitions really, and there's the robotics competition and there's a research part. And the robotics is they give you this giant mat and a bunch of Lego parts, and you build the Lego parts, and you have to your robot has to move around and do certain things for certain missions to get them out to get points. Our research is trying to reduce the amount of trash, and we picked food waste because that's a main problem at our school. So we can't do this without your help.
Now we found that, and this is a proven fact by the USDA, that over 133 billion pounds of food are wasted every single year. That's over 30% of the US's food supply. Now, our goal is to have a contest for grades to compete in to encourage recycling and reducing food waste in schools.
And it's called the STEMtists Go Green. So that's So our contest, students from each grade will compete to have the most recycling bins filled and the least amount of trash bins filled at the end of the day. And we will have monitors that watch, make sure they're putting the right stuff in the right place, and also tally up the points for recycling and trash. And at the end of the month, the grade with the most points will get a reward, and such as like a rec day where they get to go outside and dance on electronic day, etc. And we think that this is an enjoyable and fun way for the kids to get in the act and start recycling food. And what we've encountered so far. So first we researched a lot and found out a lot of good stuff to know. And then we talked to our principal, Mr. Napoleon, and our vice principal, Ms. Burkhart, about how we can implement this idea in Suncrest and make a garden, compost, all those ideas. And obviously they had a lot of considerations, and they had been trying to solve this problem of food waste, but obviously there are regulations that they had to, and they couldn't do it yet. So they thought it was awesome that we were starting this and trying to get it on the act. And yesterday actually we talked to North Elementary, which had they have a garden there, and they actually use the compost there. They spin it up and they use their compost in their garden, which we thought was really cool. They also have a greenhouse there, and we thought we wanted to implement the garden into our school if possible. We also talked to the West Virginia Farm and the West Virginia University Farm, and found out what their animals are eating, what type of compost they're using for the food, and then we talked to them as well about their ideas.
So our goals, we hope to spread this idea to other schools in Mon County. We also hope to reduce the the number of garbage bins at Suncrest Middle School in half, which is, after we talked to the school custodian, we figured out it's about 15 to 20 every day, which is a lot of trash, especially for one school. So we want to also try to reduce the waste going into the landfill, because there are a lot of landfills and they're getting way too big. Also, we would like to create a compost system. So we'd sort out the food and we'd put it in a compost bin where we could, like a barrel, and we could spin it. And after we'd spin it every so often, I think we talked to Dr. Wright. He said it would take about 6 months for each one. And after we do that, we could hopefully build a garden, either at Suncrest Middle, or we could donate the compost to North Elementary because they already have a garden. And lastly, we would like to take the unused sanitary food that the lunch people they didn't serve, and we'd like to donate it to the West Virginia Food Foundation.
What we need from you. We understand that this will take a lot of work from many people, and we are prepared to make this a better thing for our school, and not just for our school, but for the schools in this county and maybe even for the state. We plan to start this in around December, and that it would continue for many years to come. Some more things we need are: don't throw away food, reuse it, reduce it, recycle it. We need open arms for our solution so that we can have help. And another thing we need is maybe a WVU student who has the time and education to help us and train us on how to garden and do all these things properly.
And it would help get their volunteer hours in as well. So
Yeah.
Questions?
Oh, I have a lot of questions. You say that, I have so many, I didn't write them down, I had so many coming to her. Okay, so you said that you would like WVU students who have experience with gardening, with things that you are doing. In what ways particular, like this doesn't have to be specific, can you imagine a WVU student helping you all? Because we have an organization of people who care about this issue, and we all have different backgrounds. Like, I don't really know a whole lot about gardening, but I know that there's someone at WVU who does and would be willing to help. So if I were to go up to someone, how would I describe what they would be doing to help you? It can be anything. I mean, this is just a general idea.
Probably for the first couple of times, help us get used to what gardening is and what we have to do, and
Help get us into the routine of gardening, and really point out and help us learn how to do it.
and somebody
What
that
types of soil would be good for what kind of plants, and
Yeah.
how we would do it properly.
so if they've
area,
composted before, anything
certain
like
plants
that
need
would
more
help.
sunlight.
Definitely, yeah.
stuff like that.
Anything that they can contribute would definitely.
Okay, so you would like help from students relating to composting and gardening. Is there anything else?
Yes.
If they, I already know that you guys have the food where you donate to other things, we could do that as well. Like with all the unused food that goes on, instead of composting that, we could always donate that food. Because why compost it when it's edible?
My next question, kind of related to that, would you be willing to consider trying to implement a sharing table type of system if it's legal? Because I feel like we can. Do you have a question?
No.
Was that not clear? Oh, you got it? Okay, cool. I didn't know if you were asking what I said or something. But this could be something we could potentially bring up with Karen. That's her name, right? Karen?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you may have read the statistic before, but I think according to Empty Bowls, Mon County, it's a nonprofit here in Montague County that raises funds every year with a fundraiser to give to different food pantries. And there was a statistic that was like 50% of students in, I forget what elementary school it was in Mon County, are food insecure. And I feel like having a sharing table, having a place for students to put, just starting with fruit that hasn't been, hasn't been eaten, I feel like, or a bag of crackers or chips, I'm not saying put a slice of pizza there. I could see why people would have an issue with that.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be a great opportunity to involve your classmates, to give back to your classmates, and it wouldn't require too much manpower in the middle.
Yeah.
It wouldn't require anyone moving it somewhere. So maybe that's something to consider as well. But I just wanted to get a feel for what kind of outside help you would want from students at WVU. So that really helped. Let's see, what else? What other questions do I have? So when you say you want to begin in December, what are your first steps going to be in December? Like, describe how you foresee the rest of the school year going with this project. Because I'm going to assume you're not going to start gardening in December.
Well, December was just an approximate when we started. I mean, we started probably all the way back in August with this idea, and December was just an idea for it. But I mean, definitely it could take more time than December, obviously. But we hope to start composting and giving to maybe a local farm or other places such as North Elementary, because they have that greenhouse. Obviously, they can use it. We also hope to possibly give that other food that it's still sanitary, it's still edible to the Bartlett House or a food bank like that.
We'd start it by maybe we'd have like separate bins, and if you've got food that you haven't touched or anything, it goes in the composting bin. And we do the point system as well to make it kind of like woohoo.
Yeah,
It's win.
we could also weigh it. That's what.
Yeah, that's how we.
Yeah. So we could weigh the amount of trash, and then we could weigh the amount of compost that we've gotten from that, and then we could figure out how much we
We like add all the compost and then subtract the trash and whatever has the.
Okay, yeah, I really liked your slide on the contest. I just wanted to ask you more about that. You said it's going to be like a month long, or you want to start it for a month, or is it going to be an ongoing? Just tell me more about that.
So we'd have the contest, like it would be a monthly competition where every month it starts over. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Go ahead. You can keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, and then it would just have the point system, and then there would be some kind of reward to make it like, all right, competitive instinct, and then we're gonna have the reward, and then kids are gonna be like, all right, I gotta compost this.
I mean, it's an enjoyable, fun way for them to get in on the acts, and we really strive on making it fun for them, because
Otherwise,
they're like, oh, we're just throwing it away
and
for.
then it could spread to their family
What's
and
it
start
from?
doing it, and then their family could be like, oh, and then
That's
the community
good.
could start doing
and
it.
it could just keep
And
going
it
and
could
going,
keep
spread
getting bigger
outwards.
and bigger until like everybody in the state's actually composting.
Who are young and so full of energy are promoting these ideas, and they're encouraging other classmates to do the same thing, because when you get in the habit of doing something when you're young, it's going to continue throughout your entire life, and that's going to be what changes the way we operate as a society. So I'm really glad that you said that. It's so inspiring. So I kind of wanted to, this isn't really a personal question, but how do you describe the importance of what you're doing to your peers? Like, why, if a peer was like, well, why should I do that? What would you say?
I think that's
Get a reward.
yeah.
Yeah, well-
Well, yeah. But I mean, I think it's just I don't really know how to
So,
say
like,
this.
I mean, it's our world has so much trash, and it's a huge problem. And we really want to know that we're really changing the world and really making a cause in it. Because a lot of people actually tell us that, oh, you're just kids, you're still learning, you
Yeah.
don't know. And we want to go out there and be like,
Yeah,
okay.
we can do
And that's
this.
kind of our motivation to teach other kids and really help out.
Yeah. You want to make a difference in this world? You want to be a slut.
Well, but I mean, I think it's also really important for you guys to mention that it's not just about what you're doing today. Like, what you're doing today
Impacts
is impacting the future of our planet. So I think that's so important. And I mean, reward obviously gets people going,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you don't want people to stop doing this when there's not a
Because, yeah.
reward. You
Yeah.
know, that's what gets people motivated. But at the same time, you know, you want your classmates to get why you guys are doing what you're doing, because
Yeah.
you're obviously very passionate. You're here talking about
Yeah.
this issue. Okay, what else do I have written down? Okay, last question. I'm a very idealistic person. I'm very positive, so sometimes it's hard for me to think about the roadblocks that I'm going to encounter. What are some of the problems that you think you're going to have to overcome?
Definitely the regulations. Also, there's a bit of a room issue because our principal doesn't and vice principal, they don't know if there's going to be enough room for a garden at our school, which is another roadblock. We have like several spots that we could do it, but it's not really definite.
And it's also, I mean, it's a lot of work. People are going to have to stay after school, do all this work. I mean, we know it's going to have to take some peppy volunteers to help
Yeah.
us out with this.
Are you guys going to like create like an organization at your school to motivate this garden, or is it going to be mostly driven by kids or people, teachers? Like, how do you imagine the gardens becoming?
We have so recently we've like asked teachers if they'd be interested in helping, and we have several teachers lined up that they would definitely like to help. Like one of them, our West Virginia Studies teacher, she's really enthusiastic,
Yeah.
and she would
Very,
definitely help.
very enthusiastic.
Yes, and she would definitely help out with us.
Yeah.
Also, our 7th grade science teacher, Miss Maloney, yeah, she would definitely help
Yeah,
out.
she would do it.
And we have several other ideas as to who.
But we also want like the kids to get involved too, so we definitely want kids at our school to get involved because we want them passing on this.
Right, and as someone who started an organization, a food organization here, it's really important to bring other people into it, because sometimes you'll look at the work that you're doing and it will just be you.
Yeah.
And
That's
it will, well, in the beginning stages, you're going to involve a lot of people because it'll be something that you as a close-knit group need to do. But as you expand, it's going to be really important to kind of drive your ideas and, you know, educate your peers. Because in the beginning of starting the Food Recovery Network, I was doing a lot of work on my own, and it was really hard. So make sure you delegate tasks and do that really well. And if you ever find yourself being the only people like working in this garden or like working on other things, know that you're doing a really good job,